I don't know about you, but lately every time I open my electric bill, I feel my stomach drop. I live in Texas, and over the past few years, it feels like my bill has practically doubled. I used to chalk it up to hotter summers or running the AC too much. But the truth is, there's something else going on. Something big. And it's not just Texas. It's happening across the country. Electricity prices are climbing fast. And one of the biggest reasons? The rise of massive AI data centers. That might sound strange at first. Like, what does my bill have to do with artificial intelligence? But the reality is, these giant server farms are sucking up so much power, it's reshaping how utilities operate, and we're the ones footing the bill. Let me explain. Every time a company like Microsoft, Google, or Amazon announces a new AI project, somewhere behind the scenes, a data center has to run it. And these aren't small operations. We're talking giant warehouses filled with racks of servers stacked to the ceiling. Machines that run 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And if you've ever touched a gaming laptop when it's running hot, imagine that on a warehouse scale. The cooling systems alone burn staggering amounts of electricity. In 2023, data centers were already pulling down more than 4% of all electricity used in the United States. By 2028, experts say that number could triple. Triple. And a huge chunk of that surge is because of artificial intelligence. See, normal computing tasks use power. But training and running AI models uses way more. Every new chatbot, every image generator, every AI agent handling tasks online, all of it runs on servers packed with GPUs, eating up energy at a pace utilities weren't ready for. Here's the part that stings. To handle that demand, utilities are cutting big deals with tech companies. In some cases, they're guaranteeing these companies the power they need by upgrading plants, building new lines, and even keeping old fossil fuel stations running longer than planned. Sounds fine, right? Except those upgrades cost billions. And those costs don't just disappear. They get pushed onto the rest of us. So when you see your bill climbing, a piece of that hike is because your local utility is building out capacity for data centers. And if you're not the one running an AI empire, you're basically subsidizing the companies that are. And it gets even crazier. A lot of AI companies will apply for power access in multiple places at once, even if they don't end up building the data center. So utilities spend money preparing for demand that may never come. And guess who still pays for that preparation? You and me. In Texas, this hits especially hard. We already know what it feels like to have a fragile grid. We've been through blackouts. We've seen how quickly things can fall apart when the grid is stressed. Now throw in dozens of AI data centers demanding nonstop power, and the strain is obvious. Utilities have a choice. Either let demand outrun supply, which risks outages, or build like crazy. And since no utility wants to be blamed for rolling blackouts, they build. They overbuild. And we get stuck paying the tab. And this isn't just some theory. We're already seeing it in the numbers. From May of last year to May of this year, electricity prices for households jumped over 6% on average. In some states, people saw spikes of 30% or more. That's not just inflation. That's demand. And a big piece of that demand is being driven by data centers. Think about that for a second. We're all tightening our belts. We're turning off lights, running efficient appliances, trying to save a little where we can. Meanwhile, a single new AI data center can use as much power as tens of thousands of homes. And those homes are the ones picking up the extra cost. The other problem is how utilities and tech companies cut their deals. A lot of times, the data center gets preferential rates because they're such a large customer. But when you give a discount to the big guy, the utility still needs to make its money somewhere. And that somewhere is the rest of us. So in a way, it feels like we're paying part of big tech's electric bill. Not because we asked to, but because utilities need the revenue to cover their massive new infrastructure projects. And this isn't just about bills. It's about energy itself. To meet all this new demand, utilities are leaning harder on old coal and gas plants. Some plants that were supposed to shut down are being kept alive just to feed AI data centers. That means more emissions, more pollution, and slower progress on renewables. So not only are our bills rising, but the environment is paying a price too. Meanwhile, renewable projects that could help balance the load are often stuck in red tape. They can't get approved fast enough to keep up with the surge in demand. So once again, we're left holding the bag. I think what makes this so frustrating is how invisible it is. When you see your bill go up, the utility isn't going to send you a letter that says, "By the way, part of this increase is because Microsoft built another data center down the road." But that's what's happening. We're carrying the weight of an AI boom most of us never asked for. And don't get me wrong, I'm not against AI. I use it. I think it's powerful. It's shaping the future in ways we can't even fully imagine yet. But the way we're paying for it feels unfair. So where does this all go? Some states are starting to push back. They're talking about creating special rates just for data centers, so the companies pay more of their fair share of infrastructure costs. Consumer groups are calling out utilities for letting residential customers carry the burden. And regulators are starting to ask tough questions about whether we should keep subsidizing this kind of unchecked demand. But let's be real. These changes take time. And in the meantime, the bills keep coming. The servers keep running. And the rest of us keep paying. I'll be honest. This isn't just numbers on a page for me. This is personal. Because when my electric bill eats more of my paycheck, that's money not going to my kids, not going to groceries, not going to savings. It feels like no matter how hard we work, no matter how much we budget, there's always another cost coming from somewhere we can't control. And when you trace that cost back to the source, more and more often, it leads to a glowing warehouse of AI servers buzzing away in the middle of nowhere. So what do? First, we talk about it. Because the more people understand what's happening, the harder it is to ignore. Second, we push for fairness. If big tech wants to run AI around the clock, fine. But make them pay their share of the infrastructure that supports it. Don't dump it all on families already stretched thin. And third, we start demanding more transparency. When rates rise, we deserve to know why. We deserve to know who's driving the demand and who's benefiting from the deals being cut behind closed doors. At the end of the day, electricity isn't optional. We all need it. And that makes this different from other industries. When big tech drives up the cost of shoes or phones, you can decide whether to buy them. But when they drive up the cost of electricity, we all pay, whether we like it or not. So the next time you open your bill and wonder why it's climbing higher and higher, remember this. Part of what you're paying for isn't just your home, your AC, your lights. You're also paying for rows and rows of machines crunching data for an AI boom most of us didn't ask for. And unless something changes, that's only going to get worse. So tell me, how's your bill been looking? Do you feel like your electric costs have jumped over the past few years? Because here in Texas, mine sure has. And I know I'm not alone. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear your story. And if this video opened your eyes, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And don't forget to subscribe to Wolfgang's Daily Bite. Because the truth is, these aren't just headlines. They're the stories shaping our everyday lives.